What's going on? Welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be explaining cross-site scripting as part of OWASP Top 10, which is also part of COMPTIA Pentest Pathway. So for cross-site scripting, we have to answer these questions by exploiting cross-site scripting, and we're going to do also another rule from TryHackMe. It is XSS or cross-site scripting playground. So in this video, it's going to be two parts, I guess. So it will take two parts to complete the challenges. So in this video, we're going to demonstrate how XSS works, and we see examples of how we can steal a user's cookies by using cross-site scripting. Of course, the stored cross-site scripting. We're going to be demonstrating both. So basically, here we have the challenge. Okay, let's get started. So right here, I have the page. Okay, so the first thing we need to try actually is to test for a cross-site scripting. If it exists, doesn't exist. So we're going to first try with the reflected cross-site scripting. The reflected cross-site scripting is a type of cross-site scripting that when you input something here, it will be displayed back as a response from the browser. So it doesn't get stored at the website's database. It will be displayed back to the user. For example, a simple test for a reflective cross-site scripting is, as all of you know, script, and we type alert, hello. Search. So the answer is hello. So this means that the website is vulnerable to reflected cross-site scripting. Simple and easy. Now, what if we want to go further? So in the challenge in TryHackMe, it's asking, let me get the window here. So in your browser, and I click on the reflected XSS tab, which we have already done. Craft a reflected XSS payload that will cause a pop-up saying hello. So if we put this, I'm changing languages. This is Hebrew. Okay, this is right. Script, alert. Submit. So the answer is incorrect. Let me try again. So what do we need to type here? Let's get back. Okay, shall we type only hello? No. Okay, so this is the answer. We just had to click on OK. There is more to XSS than you think. Okay, that was the first answer to the first question, popping up an XSS payload. Now on the same reflective page, craft a reflected XSS payload that will cause a pop-up with your machine IP address. So the same idea. We're using reflective cross-site scripting to get some information about the targets. So if we get back, and in the same search box, we can type to pop up the location or the IP, let's say, script, alerts, of course. I'm going to use the element window, location, host, search, script, alert windows, dot location. So this is not Windows, this is window. So this is the IP, and we take this. The answer to this is this one. Right. Now navigate to in your browser and click on the Storedxxs tab. Okay. Make an account, then add a comment and see if you can insert some of your own HTML. So we're done with reflective cross-site scripting. As you can see, we can pop up phrases, we can pop up the location of the host, the IP address. Also, we can pop up the cookie, but the cookie of the current user. Okay, it is not meaningful, right? You can just get your own cookie using PurpSuite. Just insert the request and you can know your cookie. But it is more meaningful to grab the cookie of other users, as we will see later. So we go now to Storedxxs, which is more dangerous. So basically, to exploit Storedxxs or to test if it exists, we will have to make an account in any website. So for this reason, we're going to have an account, my name, and a simple password, register. Right, so now we have an account. If we get back to stored, so how about Storedxxs? Actually, Storedxxs is a type of vulnerability where if you type the same XSS payload, right, it's instead of popping up, it will be stored on the database, which means that any user, right, any user, me, anyone else, you, when visiting the page, your XSS payload will be executed. What does that mean? If I craft an XSS payload that will make a request to my web server, what does that mean? It means that every user who visits this page, they will be sending a request to my web server, and therefore I'm going to be able to grab their cookie, the account cookie on this website. That's the danger of this stored XSS. It executes for every user, and that's how they, they compromise and pawn databases on websites, other than the leaks. So here we have to create an HTML element and make it execute on the browser. And another way we can use Storedxxs is by defacing the website or by changing some elements on it. For example, if we create like HTML and create a body tag and then h1, this is XSS test. Let's do it this way. Let me create sudo XSS stored HTML. Right, so here, this is XSS test. Now let's close that, body HTML. So if we copy that, paste it here, what's going to happen? So, as you can see here, the page stayed the same, but the sentence I have added, or the header, has been added as part of the web page, or as part of the original content of the page. So here I am changing on the content of the page. That's one way we use Storedxxs. So whoever visits the page will see this. Let's take the answer and answer the question. We will do more with this, of course. Submit. Correct. Now before, as you can see on the same page, create an alert pop-up box appear on the page with your document cookie? Well, this is going to be easy. Okay, let me get back here. Okay, so let's try with the reflected. Since it's reflected, I want the results to be displayed back to my in my browser. Script alert, and here I use the element document cookie. Let's see here. So this is the cookie. Take it. Can I copy that? What is the answer format? Let's take a look. This? No. Well, I guess we need to do that on the stored then. So if we stored here, comment. Okay, all right, this is the one. So why stored? Let's get back to the browser and answer this question. So what happened here? Every user who visits this page, okay, their cookie will be displayed back in their browser, which is kind of lame, right? You visit the website and they say, hey, this is your cookie. So it means that there is something wrong with the website. But these are only intended for testing. This is not the actual use if you want to pawn the website or you want to pawn the server. Okay, let's get back to the example where we added this one. So what a practical example, we can use stored XSS to create a reverse shell. Okay, so we can go back to the HTML element here, and what we can do here, we can define an ID. For example, if I go up here, okay, this one, and I use pre ID equal, let's say, shell. And then what I'm going to do here, I'm going to put a reverse shell. Let me copy that. Okay. All right. So here I'm going to have to change the IP address, which is my own IP. Let's see if it's going to work. Here we put the IP, and here we put the port 4545. And then what we will do here, we will use a button. Okay, the button would be something like button, and when the user click on this button, they will establish a connection back to my machine. For example, here, put something like copy, and then put the ID that we have defined, which is shell. Close the double quotes. I'm pretty sure it's bad with this, so and then we type, let's say, click or get your discount. All right, then we end the button. So how this will work, let's test this. Clear nc-lvp 4545. Let's put this here. Comment. That's not what I wanted. Oh, so we have a problem here. So as you can see, the button has appeared, right? But there are some elements that are out of the loop. We need to fix them. ID shell bash. Let's get back. See what we can fix here. Now, as I said earlier, this you can just control how this button behaves. Okay, we can just here on onClick element try various ways to make the users on your target page click it and control the behavior. It could be connecting back to your web server. It could be starting a reverse shell, which I failed to do actually, apparently. So that was about this. Let's see what we need to answer. Change XSS playground to I am a hacker by adding a comment and using JavaScript. So we gotta change this. Let's look at the hint. The hint saying script document query selector THM title text content equal I am a hacker. Well, technically this is the answer. But how do we find out what to select? Why THM title? So basically if we get back here and inspect the element, we see the XSS playground that we're asked to change has an ID that equals THM title. So if I want to change this, okay, I need to change and control this ID, change its value. So here, for example, if we type hi, you see it changed, but it only changed from our end. And now if I refresh back, it's going to change back to, or it changed back to XSS background because it's only changed from the front end. So how do you make this change from the back end as well, which is what it is DOM-based XSS. DOM-based XSS attack, as explained, is the kind of attack that changes some aspects on the website, like structure, the styling, the headers, like we did with the store. It's similar to this. So what we can do here, we can go back and take the hint, which is the answer actually. And here, try, for example, stored. Let's go to stored. And put this here. See, it has changed. Now, if I refresh back, it's going to change again. Why? Because the script, right, is stored in the database and gets executed every time I load the page. So this is the answer to the question. Okay, that was about like mini XSS challenge, right? It is only meant to be an introduction to XSS, how to test for reflected, how to test for stored XSS. Now we will get to the other room. Let me get this here and get the other room. This room is dedicated for the cross-site scripting. Now we're going to go over all of these, but not in one video, of course. I'm going to demonstrate now task 3, stored XSS, and in later videos, we're going to go over the rest. And as you can see, we use practical scenarios. We can just use a keylogger in XSS. We can for board scanning. And in this example that we will go over now, it will be used for stealing the user's cookie. So let's go over the questions and see. So doing, as you can see, add a comment and see if you can insert some of your own HTML. Now, actually, we already did that in the previous room, but we're going to do it again for the sake of answering the questions. So we'll get back at this time to a different, we close that, and this is the here. So we register, and this is a different machine. And we go to stored. Okay. So here we add some HTML elements. We have already our own HTML elements, but we're going to change this one or keep it a button. Doesn't matter. Let's take it. So Storedxxs, when used with HTML elements, as you can see, we change the layout, or we add, we're not changing actually, we're adding some elements to the page. Comment, Okay, we take this, which is the answer, of course. As you can see, the element has been added. We need to find the, okay. Create an alert pop-up box appear on the page with your document cookies. We have already done that, but we will gonna do it again for the sake of answering the question. So basically here, let me do it in the stored, or it is meant to, oh, it's stored, okay. Let's stay on stored script, alert document, and then we close it. Okay. Next, change XSS playground to I am a hacker by adding comments and using JavaScript. So previously we have used don't paste XSS to do that. But in this scenario, it's going to be different. As you can see, adding comments and using JavaScript. So let's get back and do that. So here, let's first inspect the elements. So we're going to change THM title. Right. Let's get down and try something like document get element by ID, and then the one we need to change the THM title. Inner HTML equal, let's say, I am a hacker. So here we are changing, of course, the element that has the ID THM title with HTML and JavaScript. Comment. You see here, we changed some elements. That's how we deface websites, actually. It's only about stored XSS, not reflected ones. Reflected ones, I don't deem it dangerous as much as stored XSS. As you can see, we have many options when it comes to stored XSS. You can add buttons, right? You can add elements to the page. You can change elements. So the answer is this one. Now we head to the practical scenario. So this scenario asks to steal the cookie of the user Jack. Okay, so we have a target, an admin account, an admin user on a website that is vulnerable to stored XSS. We want to steal their cookie in order to be able to log in without any tedious and dull brute force on their password. So what we're going to do, we're going to send a message to Jack. Okay, that's the practical scenario. We're going to send a message to Jack convincing him to access a URL. Your URL could include XSS payload, right? This is the case of reflected cross-site scripting. Or could we use with stored? But more practical scenario actually is when the website is actually vulnerable to stored XSS and with no interaction with the admin account, all you have to do is to insert the payload in the vulnerable parameter or the vulnerable box for the attacker or for the victim's cookie to be sent to your web server. So what do we mean by this? If we go back and click on stored, there is a directory here called logs. It is for the simulation of this scenario. So as you can see, logs is saying anything that makes a request to log, text will be logged. For example, anything log and everything after log, okay? If a request has been made in this formula, okay, it will be logged here or be displayed here as a record. So this is This is a simulation for you to understand how the attack works. How the attack works, if we get back to stored, and we take the IP address or the payload. This is the payload actually. So we head back. This is the vulnerable box. That's how you do it. So script window location here will be your IP address. So in our case, modify, no, okay, clear. Let's assume or put a scenario here. Put our IP address here, right? And we want the cookie of the user to be sent to our web server. That's out of the scope of the scenario actually. The scope of the scenario is to answer the questions, but we're going to demonstrate this with a practical way. So here, if we type cmyip config if config, take our IP address, get back. All right. So now, what we'll have to do here. Oh, so here, just launch your web server. So sudo python-m http.server. What happened? Oh, it is Python 3. So a web server now running on 8000. So we take the port. All right. So what's going to happen now? Once I execute this payload in this vulnerable page, anyone visiting this page will be making a request to my web server, right? So comment. You see here, this website, as you can see, the page has changed and these files are on my desktop directory. So if we go back, our aim is to steal the cookie, this one. Let's see if this cookie appeared in the request. As you can see, the cookie appeared here. This is the cookie, right? Now, every user who visits, as I said earlier, any user who visits this page, they will be redirected to my web server, right? And as you can see, every time I visit, it redirects me to the web page, and I get another request here with the cookie, the same cookie, with the same user. That's how it practically works. You have a XSS payload, you control its behavior, and then you choose what info you need to harvest from the users. In this case, we are harvesting every user's cookie who visits this page. That's the practical simulation of this scenario. Now, let's get back to answering the questions. All right, so this is the cookie. Let's compare. I don't think it's the same because the cookies are different, but this is the cookie of the user Jack. So we take this cookie. Oh, let's see the question. What's the question? They want the cookie. Well, this is the cookie. Post a comment as a Jack. So basically here, we need to impersonate a Jack. So actually, once you steal the user cookie, he will be able to impersonate your identity, right? Okay, let's go to stored. Oh, what's this? This is our payload that is stored, and now it's making a request continuously to our web server. I'm going to need to reset the machine. Terminate, reset. Where is reset? Options, no reset. Terminate. And we're going to deploy one more time. Okay, the machine is up. Let's get back and impersonate a Jack. So here we log in. Now, the next question is about posting a comment as a jack, right? So we need to get back now and take the cookie we have just stole. This is the cookie we have stolen. Okay. Take all of it, and now here we're gonna use Prep Suite. Writeups on, refresh, replace the cookie, and forward. As you can see, I am Jack right now. Hi, Jack. So posting comments, hi. Oh, I'm again Mu'tasim. Okay, let me now change this back. I think I need to change the cookie every time I make a request. So here we are with the cookie we have just stolen. Forward. And this is Jack. And also you need to change that as well, because every request, it does some validation for the cookie. So you need to change it every time. Forward. So this is Jack page. Now if I type hi, I need to intercept this request as well. Hi. And change the cookie again. Oh, the cookie is the same. Nope, it's not the same. Actually, it is AT, not AU. So we put this one more time forward. And one more time forward. So Jack is saying hi. As you can see, we have successfully exploited that. So we take this. That's it. So that's about how we abuse stored cross-site scripting. We either, as you can see, steal users' cookies, including admins, or we can just deface websites by changing the design elements. So that was about stored. I know you may be thinking about how we can use stored XSS to establish a reverse shell. Technically, after that, we're going to use that for port scanning, keyloggers, and there is a web page. Let me grab the page. These are XSS payloads. As you can see, we can use JavaScript keylogger. We can take screenshots. We can do port scanning, browser info. So if you click on that, we can see the script. Have to change the right P for our plugins. Browser info, right. We can do various things. Intercept password, shell of the future. This great and somewhat complex exploit enables an attacker to hijack web sessions loaded in the injected browser and browse from there an available web application. We're going to be trying one of these actually in later videos for a practical aspect other than stealing the cookies, right? Yeah, cookies are a great deal to impersonate accounts and hack accounts, but there are more things to be learned to try, like the keyloggers. Okay, that was about today. See you in the next video.